Hey, welcome to our video. We're going to talk about OnPage SEO for property management websites. So we're going to cover the main issues that we see a lot of property management companies have when it comes to on-page search engine optimization. To get started, we're just going to give you a brief overview of what is SEO. So basically, search engine optimization is the practice of optimizing your website so that it shows up higher in Google or Yahoo or Bing, whatever search engine you use, for keywords that are relevant to your business. So for example, let's say you're a Chicago property management company. You would want your website to show up on the first page of Google when someone goes to Google and types in Chicago property management. Basically, the reason why this is so valuable is because whoever's going to Google to type in Chicago property management is most likely looking for a property management firm that services Chicago and doesn't exactly know who to go with, which company to go with, because they're clearly doing some research at the moment. So to give you a better understanding of SEO, it's important to understand that it's basically made up of two components. All right, so the first component is called OnPage Optimization, which is basically everything that has to do with your actual website. So optimizing your website in a way that search engines can better crawl it and better understand the content of the website so they can understand exactly what it is your company does. And then the second component is called OffPage Optimization. And this is basically everything that happens regarding your business, regarding your website, but in other areas of the internet. So we like to equate this to a car and gas analogy. So essentially, if you look at SEO as a car, if you try and take a old beat up 1990 vehicle and try and race it, and you put in premium gas, there's only so fast it'll go. So if you take a brand new BMW and you put in that premium gas, it's going to go much faster and perform much better. So you can think of the BMW sort of as your website. So you want to build up a high quality website before you start to do off-page optimization, so that it properly reacts to the off-page optimization that you're doing. We'll get into what off-page optimization is in another video, but I'm going to continue and just show you some of the main issues we see with a lot of property management websites out there that you can easily fix on your own. So the things I'm going to talk about are basically page titles, the URL structure of different pages on your website, content optimization, so how to properly optimize each page on your website and the main issues we see, image optimization, and internal linking. So the first thing that we often see is an issue with most websites, and probably the simplest thing to fix is the meta title of every page on your website. So this is essentially the title of a page, and basically it's important that you never leave this auto-generated. So you always want to have a natural looking page title. The best way to do that is basically check what's already ranking for the keywords you're looking to rank for. So for example, if I'm looking to rank for the term Chicago property management, and I go to Google and type in Chicago property management, I would want to see, okay, what is the page title that the companies that are showing up on the first page using? And then I would want to use that for my website. So generally, in your page title, you want to have the area that you're looking to service and the service you provide. So you'll see here, there's basically an example where it says Chicago Property Management - Johnson Realty. So this is an example of a good page title. It has the area they service, which is Chicago. It has the service they provide, which is property management, and then it has their company name. Another area where we see a lot of issues are the meta descriptions. So the meta description is basically the description that users see in search engines when they find your company. So you'll see here there's a print screen basically of an example, and the meta description is highlighted in red, or sorry, surrounded by a red box. Now, meta descriptions aren't actually important when it comes to ranking in search engines. but they're extremely important when it comes to how a user reacts to finding your website on a search engine. So if they see a meta description that isn't enticing or that isn't even relevant to what you do, then they're not going to click through to your website. So it's important that you have meta descriptions that are enticing and that are actually going to compel a user to click through to your website and check out a bit more information about your company. Another big area we see issues with are basically URL optimization of websites. So basically Google prefers short and clean URLs. So an example of a bad URL would be countypm.com/blog/advantages-of-working-with-a-property-management-company. I mean, I got tired basically just reading that out loud. A search engine gets tired of having to look at all these words. They're smart enough, and they're basically smart enough now that they can piece together the main words and then read the content that's actually on the page to understand what the page is about. So they prefer URLs to be shorter. So to show you an example of how I would basically redo the bad URL is I would just shorten it to make it countypm.com/blog/advantages-property-management. So basically Google can see that you're talking about the advantages of property management, and basically they can then read the content on the page to get a better understanding of what the web page is about, and they'll appreciate the fact that they didn't have to read through a long URL. Which sort of brings us to our next point, which is content optimization. So this is basically the content that's actually on the web page, and it's extremely important to have good content. And one thing about content is length matters, okay? So you want to always aim for, we always say, between 700 to 1,000 words of content on any page you're looking to rank when it comes to a property management business. So meaning on your homepage, you want to look to have around 1,000 words of content on your homepage. So you can easily do this by talking a little bit about the services you provide in a bit more detail. So you don't just say we provide property management services. Go into a bit more detail about what property management services are. So you can talk about that you provide tenant screening, you provide help with evictions, you collect their monthly rent. So go into a bit more detail regarding the services, and that'll help you bring up the amount of words, the length of words that you have on the page. Another thing that's extremely important is the H1 tag. So basically the URL, the page title, and the H1 tag are the three most valuable pieces of real estate on any web page. So the H1 tag, you always want to look to include a synonym of the keyword you're trying to rank for. So if we stick with the Chicago property management example, for that one, we want the page title to have Chicago property management in it, and then we would want the H1 tag to have some sort of synonym of the keyword. So rather than having Chicago property management in the H1 tag, we would look to have something like Chicago rental management or Chicago property manager. So something that's not identical to the keyword, the exact words you have in the page title, but that's still relevant to the service you provide and the area you provide it in. Then the most important part of basically content optimization is you want to write naturally. So don't just say, okay, I want to rank for Chicago property management, so I'm going to include that in my content 62 times. All right, so that's terrible for two reasons. One, when someone actually lands on your page and they're reading the content, they're gonna know right away, like they're gonna think right away, what the heck is this? Like, I'm gonna scroll off this website. It doesn't sound natural. It sounds like this is made for robots. So that's basically the main reason you want to do that. And then second is Google and all search engines nowadays are smart enough to recognize when someone's basically trying to stuff in their keyword into their content, and they'll actually penalize you for doing that. So you want to include your keywords in your content in a natural way, but you don't have to include it, say 10 times or 15 times in your content. Having it in your page title, then having a synonym in your H1 title, H1 tag, and then just including the keyword maybe once or twice or 3 times in the actual content of your page is enough. Search engines can understand, they're very smart nowadays, and they like natural sounding text. Another common issue we see with a lot of property management websites is image optimization. So basically, to gain an understanding of how search engines work is they can't see images in the same way that human beings can. And so what they do is they read the code of the image, and where that code is basically an area called the alt tag of the image. So you want to go into the back end of your website and just change the alt tag to naturally describe the image. So meaning, let's say you have a picture of a property manager helping out one of the tenants. You wouldn't want to stuff your keywords in there. So if you're going for Chicago property management, you wouldn't want to stuff Chicago property management into the alt text. You would want to describe the picture naturally. So you would want to say a picture of a Chicago property manager helping out one of his tenants or one of her tenants. The last point that is still extremely important that not a lot of property management websites have is internal linking and topical SEO. So interlinking is basically sending a link from one web page of your own website to another web page of your website. And you basically want to do this using keywords and synonym of the keywords that you want to rank for. So let's say that I'm trying to rank for Chicago property management on my home page, and I have an About Us page. On the About Us page, I would want to send an internal link from the About Us page to the home page, and that internal link would basically use a text that's relevant to Chicago property management. So you could say a Chicago-based property management company, and then send an internal link from that word to your home page. And then the last point is topical SEO. So what you want to do is basically have a lot of content on your website that describes the services you provide and the areas you provide them in. So you want to create blog posts and other pages on your website to add relevancy to your website regarding property management. And the more content and more quality content you have on your website related to property management, the better understanding a search engine will have regarding the content of your website and exactly what your company does and the areas that you service, which will allow them to basically show your website higher up in search engines. So Google's goal is basically to show the best results to their users for the queries that they're searching for, and they basically take the length of a website and look at that and say, okay, is this providing a lot of information for users? And if it is, then they'll trust it more and rank it higher in search engines. One last little detail is rich media. So video content really helps. Producing videos that answer questions for your ideal clients is a great way basically to rank higher in search engines, because Google likes seeing videos on websites, and it's also a great way to get people to stick around on your website. So they'll actually listen to the videos, and that'll help them basically gain an understanding and build some trust with your company, see your face possibly, and just basically help them understand the benefit of working with your company. So you can film videos now on your iPhone or your smartphone. It's very simple. And then you can basically upload this onto your website. And basically Google loves seeing that because it's rich media and it shows that you're providing value for the people that visit your website. So thanks for watching. We'll be providing a lot more videos coming up in the future. Basically, you can find a link to our website in the description below. where you'll find many more trainings on how to increase the amount of properties you manage. You can also visit us on Facebook at facebook.com/upkeepmedia. And if you enjoyed this training, like our page and subscribe to our YouTube channel. We'll be coming out with many more YouTube videos in the near future that you can use to grow your business. Thanks.